Welcome to the Brute Squad.
Yes, welcome. I am the Dog of War.
And I am Lord Humongous.
Yes, so we will be holding this video blog at least every other week, if not maybe more, depending on how the season goes. Could be less also, depending on how the season goes.
Yeah, if God willing, we will not be like last year.
Yes.
Last year was not a good year.
Cheers, Mr. Pilcher.
Cheers!
Okay, so we're going to go
Turambar.
right into this exhibition series against the Cubs, which I happened to see live and you happened to see on TV at Papago. I take it you were there?
Yes, I did the first beer cap of the year. My screen name is Turambar. His screen name is edbigghead.
Right.
Every week I'll be doing a beer cap, not a recap, a beer cap of the D-backs that specific day. Usually on a Friday, sometimes on a Saturday. Should there be a break on the Friday?
Now the beer cap is you're watching the game live on TV at a bar of your choice.
Correct, Mundo.
You're drinking the finest beers in Phoenix, Arizona, or
As
Scottsdale.
As it should be, as it should be.
And you're giving bullet points of what's happening during the game.
Basically, it's a stream of consciousness from beer to beer to beer, which degrades over time, as you can imagine.
Right.
As it should be.
Right.
As it should be.
At the last beer cap, I noticed during the write-up you had written that you were going for the Habanero Sculpin IPA,
Yes.
which was not available.
Yes.
So those of you that are watching, if you ever have a chance to have the Habanero Sculpin IPA, I definitely suggest it. It is awesome. There's a little bit of spice to it, a little bit of heat to it, but it is a great beer to drink.
Good and good for you.
Yes.
Good
yes.
and good for you.
It puts hair on your chest.
That's right. So anyhow, let's get on to talking about where the D-backs are.
Okay, so let's go back to the game against the Cubs.
Yep.
So I happened to go through the metal detectors, as I will on opening game, along with you. We were going to opening game.
True
which
story.
Some of you are as well.
True story.
So the metal detectors was actually pretty easy. It was an exhibition game, so maybe that's why it was easy.
Yep.
Opening day, I assume, is going to be a pain in the butt. But it was easy. You basically just put your keys and your wallet and your guns and knives in a little dish, and you slide it across the table to security. You walk through the metal detector. They scan your junk area, and you get to go to the baseball game.
Yeah, basically it's just like one of the opening scenes from Mad Max 2. You're just depositing all your valuables in a little box. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, I've been doing this, going to Suns games for the last 4 or 5 years now. I don't think it's gonna cause any difficulties with any D-backs fans. It's annoying. That's the world that we live in now.
Right. Thank you, ISIS.
Yeah.
Now, it's just like going through the airport, okay?
Yeah.
Don't leave your gun at home. I know we live in Arizona. We live in Phoenix. Leave your gun at home, okay? You won't have to worry about a thing.
Yeah, it'd be right as rain.
So that was nice and easy. So back to the game against the Cubs, which was on the third. One of the things I want to talk about was Trumbo in right field.
Yeah.
That's been a big talking point at the beginning of this spring training. Trumbo's going to be playing right field. Tell me what you think about that.
I mean, I think anyone on the snake pit has been talking quite a bit about how god-awful Trumbo's fielding is. I know we talked about it even when he was in left field last year. I'm not sure if there's any way to address it without putting him in at third base, but he might even be worse at third base. But the important thing with Trumbo is that he's producing RBIs. I know it's spring training, but I'll be damned if he has not been producing a god-awful amount of RBIs.
Yeah, quite to everybody's surprise, I think. But now what I saw was when he was playing right field, there was a hard hit ball out there to right field. He kind of jogged towards it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It went off the wall. He fielded it. He really had no play. The runner was already at third base. I just think that we want a younger guy out there that's a little bit more athletic if we're going to stop those triples.
I mean, all right, look, in an ideal world, I would agree with you, but the whole thing with Trumbo is, on paper, he's going to get us more than 100 RBIs a year. We're going to be sacrificing good fielding for good RBIs, and that assumes that he's going to stay healthy. If he stays healthy, then all right, whatever. We're going to get some errors. We're going to allow some doubles turn into triples, whatever. And on a side note, if he ends up looking that good as far as his RBI production, we might trade him, get ourselves a damn good prospect, and then Tomas, who's definitely not going to be starting third this year, has a position.
Yeah. Speaking of Tomas, he does have a very large belly.
Yes, he's round.
It's
He's
almost,
never missed a meal in his entire life.
It's almost Cecil Fielder-like.
Yes. Yes. No, he has a like panda pouch going for him right now.
Right. Hopefully that'll turn into some home runs.
We'll
actually
see.
better with as much as we're paying him.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
So a couple of the other points from the game that I went and saw. There's food trucks outside of Gate 8.
Yep.
They're going to be doing this every series. There's going to be 1 or 2 different food trucks out there, and if you're a ticket holder, you can actually walk outside through Gate A, get one of these awesome meals at the food truck, and bring it back into the field, which is nice. And it's apparently organized by the same people that run Food Truck Fridays at the downtown Phoenix Public Market.
Which I'm totally down with that.
That's actually a big deal down there in downtown Phoenix. So I've gone there, the food's great.
Yep.
Another thing that maybe you want to speak about is the new beers. There's a craft beer section.
Now, as a big beer fan, I'm always happy to hear about new beers.
You're a beer fan.
I know, it's weird, right?
I've actually only ever seen you drink maybe 2 beers in our entire friendship.
That's a lie. That's a big lie, actually. No, I'm very happy to hear that they are going to have a beer section. Previously, the beers that were available were very limited and very expensive. Now, they're still going to be very expensive, but you're at least going to have a good local selection. I mean, I believe there's about 46 breweries in the state of Arizona right now, and that's growing literally every year quite a bit. So to have a full, I believe it's a beer garden, right?
Mm-hmm.
To have a full beer garden available.
It's in the old fancy restaurant in the 200 level.
Okay,
The
yes.
place where you could get a $50 steak is now where you can get a $12 craft beer.
And I would much rather pay my $12 to get, a decent sized craft beer, probably not this big, but big enough, than pay, a shit ton of money for a really bad steak.
But it's actually pretty interesting that the Diamondbacks, the Chase Field, the organization is moving this way. I mean, you got Lolo's Chicken Waffles, you got America's Taco Shop, you got Zoyo Yogurt, you got all these different food varieties. We have better beer other than drinking light beer, when we're at the game.
Well, I mean, they're following the same trend that the Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport has been following. They're trying to capitalize on local products, local food.
Right.
And they see that people would rather spend a little more money on something better than spend a little more money on something that's crappy.
Right.
I don't want to be buying an $8 corn dog. I'd rather be buying an $8 corn dog covered in bacon. I'd be totally fine with that.
Which turns it into a $16 corn dog.
Yeah, and I'd be cool with that. I mean, if I'm paying an extra few bucks or something that I can legitimately say is better, I can do that. But if I'm paying an extra few bucks that I can legitimately get at my local Walmart, I don't want to do that.
I think most of the people that are watching agree as well, and I think you would all agree. I mean, of course, the new colors behind us are pretty awesome, but we like to sport the old colors we are. We are a fan of the old colors. So let's move along here. We're going to go into the trading of Cahill. He went to the Braves. The Braves picked up about $6 million of his contract.
6.5.
Okay, Diamondbacks going to pay the rest, and we got an outfield prospect who was actually the 2013 Rookie of the Year for the Atlanta Braves. In 2014, he was injured and kind of had a bad season.
Yeah, he's fallen by the wayside, but the important thing for the Diamondbacks, which my compatriot Ed Bighead will agree, is we got rid of Cahill. We got rid of Cahill, we got rid of his bloated contract, and we made room for a prospect who's probably going to be way, way, way better.
And since we're already stacked in the outfield, this prospect could either lead to a trade for some decent pitching or, something other than that.
Exactly.
But, I think that was a good move by this organization. Nobody wanted to see Cahill this year. We didn't want him to be our 5th starter. We didn't want him to be our starter last season.
Nope.
He had, gleams of hope here and there, especially with Oakland, but he just couldn't do it with us, and really he looked like a Cabbage Patch doll, and we don't need any Cabbage Patch dolls on the mound.
And the one thing is when you have a Cabbage Patch doll that legitimately advocates that he cannot control his fastball,
Mm.
that's a problem.
Now that,
That's a big problem.
we're done talking about Cahill. Let's talk about Bradley.
I mean,
First starter.
I'm pumped to see him there. I know there's a lot of talk on the Snake Pit about us leaving him out to take advantage, to make sure that we get the most out of his rookie contract. I understand that. I respect that. But, I go back to Goldschmidt. We definitely did not follow that thought process with him at all. Now, granted, different regime, way different regime. But at the same time, we weren't delaying him coming up. When he was ready, he was ready. He came up. We gave him, what was it, a year and a half with Goldschmidt? We gave him a year and a half. He proved himself. We gave him an early contract, much like, God dang it, who was it with the Rays who had the same thing, that they gave him an early contract? Zobrist? Yes, just like Zobrist. And I think the D-backs are going to follow the same path here. If Bradley can prove himself as a starter early on, they're not going to even bother to wait till the end of his rookie contract. They're going to sign him early, lock him in. But we'll see. Either way, I'm positive about it because we're a rebuilding team. It's a low risk, high reward thing. We have no expectations for this year.
And speaking of rebuilding, I mean, it's actually refreshing to see all these young players out there.
Mm-hmm.
Ahmed, Owings is healthy, Pollock's healthy.
Yeah.
Inciarte and Peralta, of course, showed us what they could do last season. So, it's very exciting. It makes me want to go see a ball game. I mean, I'm a huge fan. I'll go see a ball game anyways. But this makes me just want to pay attention even more.
I agree. And the one thing that drove me crazy the last 3 years is that we had some young talent, and we kept on bringing in old retreads to push things over the top.
Heath Bell.
Yeah, Heath Bell, Cody Ross.
Now, would you label Bronson Arroyo a retread? He's clearly past his prime, injury or not. Was clearly past his prime.
Past his prime, but always a consistent pitcher. Always a 6-inning guy.
Right.
Was he an ace? No. But was he a solid arm? Absolutely. Absolutely. You can guarantee. I mean, before last year, guaranteed 6 innings. Guaranteed. No matter what. And so, no, I in that case, I would not consider a retread, but there's been quite a few players before him I would. And it always seemed like before this year that the organization felt like we were just one retread away from being a solid team. And I think we're doing it the right way now under, God Emperor La Russa.
Yes. Praise be to La Russa. Yes. La Russa, the man. Okay, so let's move on to Aaron Hill. So, Aaron Hill, second baseman, benched right before the season starts. We're going to have Owings as our second baseman, Ahmed as our third baseman. And so I want to know from you, when is Hill going to be traded, and to what team do you think he'll be traded to?
All right, as far as what team, I'm going to say it right now, I have no clue. No clue at all. I mean, basically any team that suffers a second baseman injury or their second baseman that they have in place just ends up being garbage. Yes, they're probably going to be looking for Hill.
So I want to hear from the Snake Pit. You guys can reply in the comments here. Will Hill be traded, number one? I think yes.
No.
When will it happen? I think it's going to happen before the All-Star break. And to what team? And the winner of that, if you get all three right, I will buy you your very own carne asada burrito from your favorite burrito place.
No. Or beer.
No.
I'll buy you a beer. I'll buy you beer.
You get nothing but a burrito. And I think you'll be happy with a burrito. You get to put your own hot sauce on it and everything.
But more importantly, I mean, I think Hill definitely going to get traded. Just depends on who has a need.
I think he's going to go to the Cubs.
Do you really think so?
I really think so.
Okay.
And only based off the exhibition game that I saw, their starting second baseman had 2 errors in the first 3 or 4 innings. He looked bad.
But are we willing to pay half of that, $24 million that he's due for the next 2 years?
I believe so. If we're going to save $12 million, we'll spend $12 million. It's better than spending $24 million.
I mean, I agree, because having him on the bench, it's kind of silly. I mean, we got a lot of guys behind him that could probably be producing better. And the one thing I do like, though, is that he is on the bench. I mean, Ahmed and Owings have no business being on the bench. Yeah, they're young, whatever, but we're on a rebuilding team. There's no reason for us to not start them.
Let's showcase our young talent.
Amen.
Out with the old, in with the new.
Just like this beer.
Right.
The old beer's gone.
What do we have to lose? So we're going to go into discussing the opening series, which is against the Giants. And, of course, we're going to opening game, like most of you should if you're true fans.
That's right. Amen.
Yeah, I'm sure Jim will be there. Hopefully Chris, Esther, everybody else. I know Esther has season tickets. Thank you, Esther, for giving me some of your season tickets in the past.
We love you, Esther.
Awesome seats. Jim, you're the man. So, opening series against the Giants. Cole Mentor, the #1 starter. What do you feel about that?
You know what? I know a lot of the talking heads poo-poo it, and rightfully so. The guy's not an ace, and if it will be an ace, but for this team though, no, I know what you're saying. For this team though, he's the most solid producer out there. Guaranteed 6 innings, not even close to any. No one else in that lineup's gonna be anywhere close. As guaranteed. He's guaranteed 6 innings, 7 innings, maybe even 8. Are they gonna be flashy? Are they going to be great? Is he going to get a whole bunch of strikeouts? Absolutely not. But he's going to be, 3.5 ERA, you think? 3.5.
Yeah.
Let's say 3.5. He's going to do maybe 6.5 innings average, guaranteed. Now, it's not an ace, but for this team, might as well be an ace. I'm fine with it.
I think the reason why they're going with Cole Mentor is, #1, he's been with the team as long as he has.
Yep.
He was a starter. He went to the bullpen. He was our middle relief, long inning guy, and he's just consistent.
Yep.
And
and that's why he's there.
Exactly.
I mean, really, because everyone else in the lineup right now, Hellickson, Ruby De La Rosa, they all got something to prove. They're all coming off of either injured seasons, bad seasons.
And I really think Cole Mentor has the confidence. I mean, you can go with Wade Miley, you can go with another pitcher like Trevor Cahill. Those guys were not confident. Even Ian Kennedy wasn't confident.
No.
I really think Cole Mentor is not Brandon Webb. He's not Randy Johnson by any means, but I think that he portrays that same type of confidence that they have.
Yeah.
He knows that he can do it. He's going to go 6 innings. I'm actually going to say he's going to go 7 innings if he's solid. And I'm gonna bet that his ERA is more towards 3.25. I think he's gonna get at least 11 or 12 wins this season as well.
And it might even be better than last year, if only because his infield, in my opinion, is gonna be better. Mm-hmm. Outfield, with exception to Trumbo, is gonna be better.
Yes.
I mean, really, he's gonna have some good defense behind him
and offense.
And offense supporting him. Now, granted, this is all on paper. We're all making predictions here. In fact, both of us.
This isn't on paper. This is on video. And we're telling you what we see, and you guys can stat it out all you want. We're telling you what we see, and if you're right, you're right. If we're right, you owe us a burrito
or a beer.
Exactly.
Beers are good too.
So speaking of De La Rosa, our #2 starter, came over with the trade. What do you think about that, man? De La Rosa.
No, I've not had a lot of chances.
Ruby Tuesday.
I've not had a lot of chances to watch Ruby Tuesday pitch yet. I mean, I know he's a bit of a kind of fireball arm, which I am totally down with. I'm cool with that. We've not had an overwhelming arm in the lineup in God. How long has it been since we've had? I mean, really, since and I know he's not Randy Johnson. I don't want to even compare him to that, but we've not had an overwhelming arm forever.
But there's got to be a reason that God Emperor LaRussa and the other staff, who's all pretty much new in the organization, they see something in him for him to be our #2.
And they do. And basically, it's his power arm. And the big thing is he's a low risk, high reward. If he doesn't work out, we got guys like Hudson, we got Nuno in the lineup. Yeah, we got Nuno in the lineup.
Which I haven't heard too much about this spring.
It's funny. They actually pulled him out today from the starting from the game today, which made me think, okay, maybe they're going to trade him, maybe they're not. Maybe they're going to package him with Ross or with Hill somewhere, but who knows? Either way, the point is that, like with Chase Anderson, like with Ruby De La Rosa, there's options here. If they fail, this guy's a slot in right away. So if he works out, great. If he doesn't, whatever.
I would actually hope that they don't package Vidal. I really like him. I think that he got a bad deal last season. He had no offense behind him. He really should have won at least 5 games last season.
I was actually very surprised he did not make the starting lineup this year.
Now speaking of Vidal Nuno, okay, let's go to Brandon McCarthy real quick. Because when he was with us, he was decent, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But the rumor is, or at least the story, is that when he came to the Diamondbacks, our organization, our pitching staff, whoever, told him not to throw his cut fastball, which is what he was famous for in Oakland.
Yeah.
Okay. So then he ran into trouble here in Arizona. Okay. The second he goes to New York, they tell him to start throwing his cut fastball.
Yeah.
And
they do.
he shines in New York. And now he's with the Dodgers.
Now, mind you, we're talking about two different organizations now, though. That was the previous organization before La Russa cleaned house. But you do bring up a good point, though. They did say that we maybe lost out on what could have been a surprising pitcher. Now, I know that McCarthy's not been exactly, earth-shattering in spring training.
He's easily a number 4, number 5 starter. And my point is, why was our organization telling him not to throw the pitch that he's best at throwing at, and then another organization is telling him, you know what, that other organization was garbage, that we know more than they do, which obviously they do. They're the Yankees, and I hate the Yankees, and I think you hate the Yankees. But
we all have.
They saw something in him.
Yeah.
Why does that happen with our organization? And I don't think it's going to happen anymore now that we have La Russa.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is that from what I've read, this happened, and we're talking about the Grit organization here, the Grit Empire. This happened because, some of the guys, some of the film watchers in the front office watching that cut fastball, and every time they saw him getting in trouble, it was when he was throwing it. Now,
was that a National League problem? Not because then he went to the American League.
But touche, exactly, touche. So in their mind, it was a liability. In their mind, they were cutting out a liability, but in reality, they were cutting out a tool for him to use. And when you're going from a pitcher who doesn't have a lot of tools, and you're cutting out another tool, you're leaving him wide open to problems that probably didn't exist before.
In the end, there's a reason why you get a pitcher from any team, or even from the minor league system or from college. There's a reason why you like them, and it's because of their tools. It's because of their mechanics. You can tweak their mechanics. You can add a tool. You never really want to take a tool away from them if it's working.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, and it's all
and like I said, it's all in the past. But from what I've read, it was them overanalyzing, which is funny because we attribute the previous regime as under-analyzing things.
Okay.
And from what I've heard, it's about them overanalyzing a pitch, which caused him to get rid of a pitch, which caused him to, expose himself to, his other pitches because he got rid of the complete tool from his repertoire.
Okay, so let's talk about the Giants. Again, opening series. Clearly in spring training, they're not one of the greatest teams in spring training. Even Bruce Bochy, big Russian guy, big red-faced, drunk Russian-looking dude who invaded Crimea and conquered it with ease.
We don't know that. We don't know that. Okay.
Oh, Bruce Bochy was there with Putin.
Was he really?
Yes.
Dang it.
That's his secret weapon.
Putin. Anyhow, I mean, now first off, let's just say this right now. This is an odd year. Year 2015. Previous World Series have been won on even years. Coincidence? I think not.
I don't buy into any of that. I don't think the Giants are going to win the World Series this year. I don't think they're going to win it next year. I think that they're done. I actually am going to say right now that Bochy is not going to be the manager of the Giants in 3 seasons. They're going to have a new manager. It's going to be like Mike Matheny.
All right, I can see that, but these could be famous last words. I mean, I know D-backs fans, especially those god-awful Dodger fans, have said the same thing last few years that they're done, and then somehow they just keep rising from the grave. They're like Lazarus. They just somehow keep making it happen.
No. I'm not saying they're going to be 5th or 4th place or even 3rd place. I think they're going to compete, but they're done. I think that they're done as far as that goes.
Well, and we'll see. I mean, I'm not afraid of their offense, but granted, they won last year with no one afraid of their offense. And I'm definitely not afraid of their pitching, but same thing. They're definitely well coached. They're well managed. They got a good front office. But I have to agree with Ed Bighead here that I think they're on the downswing. I think the pendulum is swinging the other way now. It's not going to swing very far. They're still going to be a competing team. They're not going to turn into the Rockies. They're not going to turn into us right away. But, yeah, I know. Yeah.
I'm not even religious, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah, we're not going to.
Am I doing it right, religious people?
But, regardless, this season, much like for the D-backs, it's a rebuilding season for them. They're going through some change. Pablo Sandoval, who anchored, that lineup for a long time, is gone.
He also anchored many buffets.
Yeah. He was the first in line for mini buffets throughout the San Francisco area forever.
Golden corrals were springing up all over the nation, wherever his team was visiting.
Yes.
Simply because of Pablo Sandoval.
I tell you what, he has single-handedly funded several hundred restaurants. But regardless of, their team's different, the lineup's different, pitchers are older. We already knew last year that Lincecum, mostly garbage, especially when Goldschmidt's at the mound. Goldschmidt loves him some Lincecum pitching.
In the batter's box, not on the mound.
Oh, that's fair. But anyhow, no, it's going to be an interesting first series for both teams because both teams are trying to find out who the heck they are. Probably more importantly, though, series after.
So we're going to go into that now. So here's our month, as most of you know. We'll be facing San Francisco at home. I'm going to say we're not going to sweep that series. We're taking that series.
I think we're going to take it.
Yeah. And then we face LA at home. I'm going to say we're probably going to lose that series.
I think so, too.
I think a couple people are going to lose their teeth.
Yeah.
The metal detectors are going to come in very handy that series. We know how those Dodgers fans are with their beach balls and AK-47s.
Yeah, and their shivs. Gotta watch out for those.
I'm going to be wearing my phone books. I'm going to have some phone books here, some phone books here. So if I take a shank to the ribs, I'll survive.
Yeah. We'll be good. And
then we have San Diego away. We're actually really looking forward to seeing San Diego play. And not because Justin Upton, we're not fans of Justin Upton. I hope none of you are still holding on to that. Justin Upton was the face of the Diamondbacks. He's a Hall of Famer because clearly, as you can see with the Braves, he's not a Hall of Famer. So please stop talking about that.
The guy's a big bat at times.
I would like to say that I was right about 4 years ago, when you guys were giving me crap, when you were giving him crap about Justin Upton, when we were saying what we were saying. You guys got into your stats and your computer keyboards.
But regardless, though, both myself and edbigghead here, we're looking forward to seeing how Padres do. I think they're going to be a competitive team this year. Actually, I was impressed with how their front office went all out.
I think they're going to be competing.
Yep.
Competing for the number one spot in the NL West.
Yep.
And you know what? I'll cheer for them. I'll root for them. I love going to Petco Park. I love watching the Padres play. It's going to be an awesome series. And then from there, we're going to San Francisco away. I think, again, we're going to take that series, and we're not going to sweep it. And then we're facing Texas at home for 2 games. 2.
We got the AL West this year for our interleague games here.
And it's at the beginning of the season.
Hey, you know what? I can take that Texas is in a rebuilding mode as well. I'm not sure what's going to happen there.
Well, I definitely can tell you that Ron Washington is going to be like Gollum in the cave. Precious. He's fighting to come back.
And you know what? And maybe and he's every right to. Maybe.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of like a military dictator who was overthrown in a coup and then fled to Saudi Arabia and is vowing to return, and nobody cares.
Maybe Washington will be that guy.
That's Ron Washington. And then from there, we face Pittsburgh at home, which I have tickets for. I'm actually looking forward to that series.
We're not going to win that series.
I think we're going to win that series. Clint Hurdle's big tomato face is not going to win that series. Clint Hurdle's face, looks like a cut open watermelon. I don't know if you've ever seen that. I'm sure you have. Okay, it's big and red and lumpy.
Yeah, but I can tell you one thing.
By that alone, we're taking that series. We're not going to sweep it.
No,
we're taking it.
I'm going to have to disagree here. We're going to lose that series. That is a playoff team and a proven, ready to be a playoff team, unlike us.
Okay,
rebuilding.
So will there be any bad blood in that series? Considering
you know what, I don't think so. I mean, because they know, we know, regime change. everything's changed with this team. Yes, there's a few players are still on that team, but quite a few players have gone from that team. I mean, they have in my mind, they have no reason to go into that series, looking for blood.
Either way, it's going to be an exciting series.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to win it. He thinks we're going to lose it, but, whatever. Nobody listens to this guy. Then we're going to have Colorado at home. I think we're going to sweep that series. I actually don't think the Rockies are going to show up. I think they're just going to wave the white flag from the plane, flying over Phoenix.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then we face LA away. And speaking of bad blood, I read an article the other day about how Chip Hale and Don Mattingly had some meeting and they buried the hatchet. Do you believe that?
No.
Do you think
that the buried hatchet is on paper only. There is no
symbolic.
buried hatchet.
Symbolic.
The hatchet is very much alive and well. These teams both have bad blood against each other. Both hate each other intensely.
And we saw a little bit of it in spring training, which actually made national news.
Yes.
The Diamondbacks and the Dodgers are fighting again.
No, that will not end anytime soon. And, we'll see where it goes this year. Are we going to be the punching bag, or are we going to be delivering a few punches this year as far as wins? Not saying empty the benches, which may happen. But as far as wins go, are we going to be, competitive against them? And I think we will be competitive. I don't think we're going to be the punching bag we were last year. We'll just see where it goes.
I think a big problem with that, with the Dodgers, is, and a lot of you snake pitters know, you've gone to the series here at home, and we're facing the Dodgers, and their fans are pretty obnoxious, and you have to have tough skin when they're here.
Obnoxious,
and if you start cheering or if you start heckling, they start throwing up gang signs.
Yeah, they might be the greatest bandwagoner fans everywhere.
Exactly. And what happened to them in the postseason last year?
That's right. They got destroyed. I totally forgot about that. Just like last year.
Right. Yeah.
Just like last year.
Huh. It's too bad for the Dodgers. All those billions of dollars, just like the Yankees, and you get nothing.
So. Coming up next on the Brood Squad, we're going to be...
Well, not next, but...
Well, in further episodes.
We're actually ending this episode now. So in the future, like I said, we're going to be doing an episode every 2 weeks.
Yep.
Maybe every week, depending on how the season goes.
Every 2 weeks is a good way to put it.
So we're going to give you a quick rundown of what we're going to be doing. Then we're going to get into predictions, and then we're going to end this thing.
Yep.
So basically, what are we going to be doing in the next one?
Well, we're going to try and get some other snake pitters amongst the legion of snake pitters out there to join us in said glorious forum here.
And you got to bring your own beer.
Yeah. BYOD.
Yes. And it's got to be good beer.
Yes.
Okay, so basically what we're going to be doing is, one of our ideas is we want to interview other snake pitters. But we also think that could kind of be redundant.
Yep.
So we actually want to bring on people that we know from our inner circles who are fans of baseball, but fans of opposing teams. And I think our first interviewee is going to be a diehard Yankees fan.
God help us all.
Yes.
God
so basically what we're going to do is we're going to sit at this table. We'll probably clear it off for you here a little bit. But we're going to sit at this table, we're going to set our guns down, and we're just going to have a big old fist fight for 15 minutes. I think that should be pretty entertaining.
Indeed.
Right,
Indeed.
right. It's going to be, overhand hooks, Alex Rodriguez this, uppercuts to share that.
Yeah, I was thinking like finishing moves from Mortal Kombat, that kind of stuff.
Right, yeah. We're going to golly-maw somebody's heart out, all these things.
Golly-maw.
But if you have any suggestions, things that you want to see on this video, whether it's something stupid, something factual, anything, you suggest it in the comments, and we will listen.
Amen to that.
Okay.
And Dodgers... we're not going to bury the hatchet.
You see this, Dodgers? Do you see? Do you see? We're not burying the hatchet. We'll see you at Chase Field, Dodgers fans.
See you there.
All right, and real brief, right before we end this thing, we're going to get into our predictions as the Brood Squad, the Dog of War, Lord Humongous.
Lord Humongous.
You might have heard of us. Okay, so predictions. I'm going to go with the Diamondbacks are going to win 90 games. And you?
I'm thinking 80-85. All of it has to do with really our starting pitching. I think our offense is going to be solid this year. Starting pitching has a lot to prove. So we'll see.
You snake pitters that are watching, please put in the comments what you think we're going to win. Okay, next prediction. How many home runs is Paul Goldschmidt, Lord Emperor Goldschmidt, the one who saved us, the Redeemer? How many is he going to hit?
God Emperor Goldschmidt, I predict, will be hitting at least 45 home runs this year. He'll be ending the lives of many, many pitchers.
I'm going to go 40 home runs.
All right.
He will be ending lives of pitchers, and I think he's going to get the MVP, National League MVP.
You know what? I can see it. Really, in my opinion, it's between him and McCutcheon, unless Kershaw wins like 30 games.
You watched that game the other day. You saw him throw that guy out at home plate after he caught that foul ball.
Yep.
Right by the dugout.
Yep.
Come on, that's big league right
now. No, Goldschmidt has every tool imaginable. He should be MVP, but like any MVP vote,
popularity
popularity, but is his team gonna make the playoffs? The year that McCutcheon won, if we had made the playoffs, guarantee you.
I'm sure most of the snake pitters believe that we're not going to make the playoffs.
And I can't blame them. Can't blame them.
Okay, so Trumbo, trade bait.
Trumbo, for sure, trade bait. They want Tomas to get some more time playing. He's not going to get it playing at third base. He is going to get playing in the outfield. The only problem is Trumbo's in the way.
But Trumbo looks good. So he's going to be good this season, I think. That's my prediction.
He is.
Okay, so who's going to want Trumbo? And at what point are we going to trade him?
I tell you what, if Trumbo produces, and granted, I know spring training doesn't have any indication of the regular season, but he keeps hitting RBIs like he did in spring training, he's going to be a designated hitter in the AL, or he's going to be, a solid bat in the NL. Either way, he's going to have value. And either way, we're going to be able to get rid of someone who's probably not a part of our future plans, and then make room for someone like Tomas, who is. And that's all that matters.
I agree with that. I think he's going to end up as a DH somewhere.
We'll see. Just depends on how he does in the first 2 months of the season.
So that concludes our first inaugural episode of the Brute Squad.
Woo!
I'm the Dog of War, also known as Ed Bighead. You know me.
Lord Humongous, known as Turambar.
And you know him. Peace.
Stay strong. Stay cool.